So this is my comparison between the Eve 2017 version and the Eve 2018 version. Is there a new version? So here's the thing. I unboxed my mum's Eve mattress expecting it to be exactly the same as the one I got about 6 months ago. Now, when I opened the box, I could see that already they didn't have the fashion type booklet that they had with my original Eve, and so I could see that there was something different. So I thought, okay, I'm going to unbox this now on video. So I could put it here, unbox it on video, and lo and behold, when I opened it, it appeared to be a different mattress. Just get the top off, check it's all okay. They do have a stocking on this. Now, I don't remember it having a fire stocking last time, but maybe. So, 2017 version, no fire stocking, blue memory foam on the top. 2018, this one has fire stocking. Now, I say fire stocking, I did ask them about that, and they say it's actually there only to protect the layers of the mattress, so that it's not actually a fire stocking, they're saying. However, the memory foam on top is now white. So I asked them, why is that now white? And they said because some customers had complained that they could see the blue through the top cover. That's what they're saying. And I said, well, has anything else changed? Density the same? No, absolutely the same. Densities are still the same, except that is now white instead of blue. Still CertiPure certified. As far as I know, it's still made by the same company that has made the Eve since it started, which I think is called Duraflex Foam Limited or something like that off the top of my head. So it is CertiPure, there's no question about it. Something has changed. Now they're saying it's the same mattress, just different colour foam because of the problem with the blue. People said they could see it through the top. Now, old version 2017, new version 2018. I can't say that I can see. Now, that's more white than that. I have been laying on this, although I have had a mattress protector on it, and for much of that time I've used a memory foam topper. However, that's slightly more white. Is that because I can see the blue through it? I don't know. Would that be a huge deal? Not to me. However, that's what they've done. I noticed on the box, they have all the languages now. So, Le Mattress, French, Il Matteros, Asso, I don't know. I'm not bilingual. However, that's clearly Italian. Di Matterazzi, anyway. But clearly, it looks like one box for multiple countries, doesn't it? They may be just advertising the fact that they do it in multiple countries. I wonder now, off the top of the head, it's not something they've said. I wonder if they're now making a mattress that's more universal across the EU rather than a UK specific version. However, they still say made in the UK and everything else is the same. But some things have changed. So saying that the mattress hasn't changed. So, okay, so you probably haven't watched my other videos where I've gone in depth about Eve. However, just to quickly go over the facts about Eve. Been around since 2014. The mattress has changed a lot in that time. Started with a latex top and bigger layers than they do now. Now, over time, they have changed those layers. I think latex went to polyfoam, and then polyfoam went, which was on top of the memory foam, then the memory foam was switched to the top. So what Eve is now is memory foam top layer, polyfoam or polyurethane foam middle layer, high resiliency base layer. So it's a bit different in that it's a memory foam. Most of these are latex or latex-like polyfoam. Eve now, as opposed to before, is memory foam on top layer. Now, they have 3 centimeters top layer, 3 centimeters middle layer, 18 centimeters the base layer. That has also changed. Before it was 4 centimeters, 4 centimeters. So it has evolved. Wouldn't surprise me if it's evolved again. However, they're saying it hasn't. Also notable about Eve is CertiPure certified, the whole mattress. That means certified to be low in volatile organic compounds, low emissions of chemicals, which they all do, and to have none of the really harmful chemicals. I know, of course, the EU legislates on this sort of thing. However, CertiPure is stricter than the normal legislation on what you can do with or put in a foam mattress, or any foam for that matter. So it's even more peace of mind. Theoretically, should mean less smells, less of gassing. There's a slight smell for me, for probably the least smell of any mattress I've had, and dissipates probably within the first 48 hours. So it certainly seems to be good quality. 75 kilo per cubic meter is what they say for the top layer. Very good. Obviously it goes higher. The higher ones, which become more orthopedic-like type mattresses, are going to feel firmer. However, it's a good middle ground between softness and having good conforming properties. The middle layer, again, pretty good on paper, 56 kilo per cubic meter for the polyfoam, and you'd normally expect something like 50, so not a lot in it, but still, you know, it's good spec, and 36 kilos per cubic meter for the base layer. Again, good. Normally ranges between 28 to 33. Just skipping over that because I've done most of this in detail. I really want this to be comparison between the unchanged 2017 version and the 2018 version. I'm saying it's unchanged because Eve are saying it's unchanged. Right, so let me just show you how, to me, they are different. First off, I'm going to say the new version, to me, I've not had it long, and it's not supposed to be my mattress, but I'm going to try it. But I haven't slept on it yet because I'm trying the Simba. However, when I do lay on it to try it, it's still a firm mattress, don't get me wrong. I could still feel it. You know, in terms of comparing to other mattresses I try, I would describe it as quite firm. However, it feels slightly softer, this top memory foam layer to me, than this one that I've been sleeping on. And bear in mind, this is going to be softer because I have slept on it. They do soften up as you sleep on them. So, first of all, this feels softer from the start, which would not be what you would expect. Now, it feels to me, on the old, I thought it was notable when I got Eve that it was quite bouncy for a memory foam top layer mattress, bouncier than you would expect, which is good. To me, if you're looking for a mattress for sex, which a lot of people are, you know, an all-round mattress, is it comfortable, but is it still good for sex? Eve, I always thought was good in that regard. So, you know, if I'm moving around, I can feel a definite bounce. When I do the same thing on the new one, there is no doubt I'm getting less bounce. So as far as I'm concerned, between the two, and I'm going to show you without the covers and you'll see exactly how they're different. As far as I'm concerned, this new version, it's not a new version, okay? Eve say they haven't changed anything other than the colour of the memory foam and put a protective covering around it. However, it feels to me less bouncy, slightly softer, and more. I like the way it conforms. I feel it slightly more conforming in my lumbar region before it's softened up than on my 2017 Eve. As far as I'm concerned, it's different. I do prefer laying on that. To me, that memory foam top layer has changed. I have to say, I weighed them without the covers on. So 18.5 kilo for 2017, 18 kilo, about half a kilo less on the 2018 Eve. Could be down to variation between pores. In the foam itself, it's not 100% standardized. There are differences. However, a half a kilo is reasonably significant to me. It's enough to have a change in the density of the memory foam. Now, they say it hasn't changed. They say the difference in weight could be error, although I did it a few times to check it. However, you know, I'm not using scientific measuring grade scales. However, I did calibrate them with some weights. And I'm not saying I am the last word here. I'm saying, to me, it's interesting and notable. I think there was a half a kilo difference, and they're saying it's possible in the production process, some foams end up with more air. You know, these are open cell. In the production process, you can take on more air than another, and there is variation across them. However, half a kilo is maybe more than I would expect for variation. I'm saying I do prefer the feel of the new Eve. However, it's possible to me that the memory foam top layer is a slightly different density. I'm not saying it is, and Eve's saying it isn't. I'm just saying it's possible. It seems to me that it's very possible. There seems some difference. So, a mattress I slept on for a long time and would have softened up feels firmer than this top layer, which I prefer. I do sink in a little bit more. I think just the top layer has changed, as far as I'm concerned, in a good way. And even if it was a low density, it's not a terrible thing. It would still be higher density than a lot of other memory foam top layers. Say something like the Otza, where it's, I think they don't specify, from what I gather, about 50 kilo per cubic meter. And at the worst, this is about 60. However, I'm not saying it is. I just want to be clear. I'm not trying to say they've done something. They're saying it hasn't. I'm just saying, even if it was a little bit lower, it wouldn't be a huge issue. It's still a better grade than other mattresses anyway. You know, it's not orthopedic end of the scale, but it's the comfort end of the scale, and it's a comfort layer. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna just show you. I mean, they're saying it hasn't changed. So, you know, I'm gonna show you. This is a mattress they say haven't changed. To me, laying on it, this is 2018, less bouncy than 2017. I drop that, 1, 2, boom. 1, 2, 3. Just on a little bounce like that, it seems to me obvious that that is more bouncy as a top layer. And if I do this, it becomes even more. If I do it a little bit firmer, 1, 2, 3, and watch how high it goes. Let me do it really hard. Even hard, it's not getting above that radiator. If I do the same thing here, now it's definitely going higher and it's bouncing more. So, I'm definitely saying, on these two mattresses that I'm comparing here, it's less bouncy on the 2018. Motion transfer, I think there's a difference. So, let's see how far we get before these bottles no longer drop. It's only a rough test. I grant it. It's nothing, not scientific. It's just a guide. So we get that far. You can really see that it's moving more. So they're in line, and you might think that's not a lot, but it's consistent. Whatever I do, put the bottles there, I look to see how much they vibrate. Less motion transfer on, which you would expect, because I already said it was less bouncy. So you could say that's within the margin of error. Fair enough. I just think there's a little bit of a difference and enough to say something is different. So I think the 2018 is memory foam is slightly softer. I think the bounce is a little bit less. I think the motion transfer is a little bit better. So, edge support. Whoops. Edge support. Let's do it this way. It's pretty easy to see. I stand right to that bit. It's giving away, what, half, 50%? On 2017. It looks about the same, but I have to say it feels a bit firmer.
On 2017?
Do it like, not too right to the edge, if I just a little bit like that. Yeah, I would say they're similar. Actually, if I stand like that, I can. There's a feel. It's definitely softer. 2018. I definitely feel. There's a definite difference. I feel my right foot is slightly lower. It's definitely different. These are the differences, in my opinion. These say nothing has changed except the colour. I'm going to take the covers off. Have a closer look at the real differences of the mattress. However, as I said, I'm not really doing a review as such, I'm doing a comparison. However, as I've done an in-depth review already, I'll just point out something really nice about the Eve, apart from the certification, is that the covers are machine washable. And by the way, they say it's not a fire stocking, which is what you'll see, because actually the fire protection is in the covers. But do you see, this removes from the top. If you want to clean your mattress cover, do not have to move your whole mattress and unzip it from the bottom like you do on some of them. However, most of them say it's not machine washable, or don't remove it, like Simba said, if you remove our cover, warranty's gone. But look at that, nice and easy. One weird difference. Zip, actual physical zip on the actual side part of the mattress cover. Physical zip on this one, on the 2018, is actually on the cover. So that's another difference, isn't it? Something has changed. Anyway, I think if you had an Eve before and it looked like that without the holes in, and it was just too firm, you may find this is just right. It has a softer feel and a more contouring feel. Another difference, which may be weird, however, you will notice chunks missing from around the edge. 2017. It's been doing that from the day I first had it, and what happens is if you grab it by the sides, chunks come off very easily. In maneuvering this one around, notice nothing has flaked off or come off. That seems very brittle compared to this one. This foam, which is apparently only different in colour, feels less brittle than 2017. Again, to me that's a good thing. They're saying it hasn't changed. I'll get this covers right off. Just want to point out another good thing about Eve, if you haven't seen my other reviews. Handles on the bottom. Really useful when you're moving this about and you don't want bits to come off. But as I said, I've been careful with this. However, I just can't help it flaking off like that. It's very brittle. Now this was white when I first got it. It does decolour and that's pretty normal. However, you will notice this was blue, although it's discoloured now. And you're already seeing the difference. Now, I've taken the fire stocking, or protective stocking off of 2018. So bear in mind that came with a stocking around it. This one in 2017 didn't. Still a little bit of a smell, but really not much at all. And it's not an overpowering chemical smell. I did get a very surprising chemical smell with Simba. Surprised me because it is latex on the top and the polyfoam is certified on that. The heights are the same. It's now fully expanded 24. 3 centimeters memory foam, 3 centimeters polyurethane foam or polyfoam, high resiliency base foam. Does that feel the same? I have to say that feels a little bit softer. Nothing's changed, and maybe it's my imagination, but this feels ever so slightly softer. I do think 2018 is a slightly softer Eve. However, maybe it's just sample variation. Eve say they have not changed. Let's have a look at the response. It was noticeable, but it's quite fast responding for a memory foam. In fact, not much difference between that and the Simba-Tex, suppose synthetic latex on the Simba. But that is amazingly fast. In fact, almost too fast to be memory foam. Well, for what I expect from memory foam. And of course, they do make a more or less a full-on memory foam in the sense that the property of a memory foam should be to contour around you rather than just compress under you and then spring back. So there shouldn't be much spring on a memory foam, that's the whole point. However, depending on how they bore it and the blends and the additives, blah, 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 because at the end of the day, memory foam is just additives added to polyfoam. They can make it more or less bouncy, but it makes it, the more bounce, the more spring back it has, the less traditional memory foam qualities it will have. That's quite spring backy. I have to say that's really fast responding. But that is a memory foam. Now, is there a difference? Bear in mind that would have softened up. I've been sleeping on it. And this does feel firmer. Although it feels softer laying on it, the way it contours under you, it feels more obvious. So I actually prefer the feel of this. The polyfoam, pretty similar, but still maybe that's more springy. Just subtle differences between them. Could be sample variation. As I said, no lumps. I've been moving about. No lumps have come off of that. Lumps were coming off of that from day one. So it's still the same spec, 75 kilo per cubic meter, 75 kilo per cubic meter. However, if due to some sample variation and something in production, this was a slightly lower density, it wouldn't be a terrible thing because I prefer the feel of it. It's a bit softer. I do prefer laying on it to that one, even though it's newer and it's going to soften up further from where it is now. That's the mattress they say haven't changed. Tiny, tiny smell. I mean, it is really good for low smells. And there's no smell at all, as you would hope. Now, I have to say, I did some testing, and it does seem to me that if you're quite heavy, the further you sink into this mattress, the more alike they will become. So it does firm up in the same way as you start hitting that base layer. So if you're quite heavy, they'll probably feel the same to you. If you're on the lighter side, I think the memory foam on top is softer, which means for lighter people, it will feel softer. From the little tests I did putting weights on it, it seems to confirm that the lighter the weight, the more obvious the difference. As you get heavier, now 13 stone, I can just about feel the difference. You'll feel more difference if you're lighter than me, and you might not feel any difference if you're a bit heavier than me, because you'll start hitting the layers underneath, which I don't think have changed. If anything has changed, I'm not saying it's changed, you say it hasn't changed. I believe what they're saying. However, in my sample variations between these mattresses that look very different, they seem to feel different. And if I just bought this to replace that, I'd be quite happy, because it feels a bit softer. I had to use this with a memory foam top because it was just too firm. You get away with not using that on this. I am sinking in more. Oh, just to show you responsive, if you can see any difference there. I think the response is actually pretty much the same. They're both fast responding. Well, having said that, I can still see some impression there. I've got to lay on it a little bit to give it a chance. Obviously, the more you lay on it, the more you'll sink in. I definitely feel it less in my lumbar region here. In other words, that's more contouring, which is the opposite of what you expect on a mattress I've already laid on, because you would expect it to soften up. So if I now come off that, I don't see any impression. If I lay on this, definitely more of an impression. So I would say, I would say it's a little bit slow responding, which may be consistent with it being a little bit softer, a bit more memory foam like. Just all these, there's enough subtle changes for me to say it seems like a different mattress to me, not just the difference in colour. So that is my 2017-2018 comparison. Two mattresses that haven't changed but look different, and in my two different samples, which may be sample variation, they seem different enough to say there's a significant difference, if that makes sense, while the differences are still quite subtle. Anyway, I thought I would do this video, which I never planned to do, because if you get this mattress and it's like this one, and then the review I did on the 2017 one will be not quite up to date, because I would be, well, the properties of that I would say are different, not least, it's half a kilo in it. I did it a few times. It's not a scientific test, but my weight, it was a consistent difference on the weight scales, however you look at it. So I hope that was of some interest, if only to say, oh look, it looks different now, and there may be a difference. It's not a thorough review. I just find Sonic weirdly interesting in foam mattresses. Maybe because it's, they don't disclose a lot. I'm not talking about Eve specifically or anyone else, because Eve do disclose quite a lot. They were really open on the phone, had a really nice discussion with a guy on the phone about the differences. They do tell you the densities, and a lot of companies don't tell you anything. And it is CertiPure certified, and part of that certification means that they continually check the mattresses. So if there was any difference along the line, that would sharpen the CertiPure certification. So just hope you find that as interesting as I do. Thank you for watching.
UK